Hi everyone, Joe Gentili from Saroff Gentili LLP. So this video is for people that are facing severe delays in the immigration petition process and are thinking that they may want to file a mandamus lawsuit at some point in the future. So if you're at that point where you're not looking to file a mandamus lawsuit tomorrow, but you're thinking that this is something in a few weeks or a few months' time, you're going to seriously consider, there are some steps that you could be taking to prepare so that when you are ready to file a mandamus lawsuit, the process of getting it on file is going to go as quickly as possible. And also, you're going to be giving yourself the best odds of success when it is filed. So the first step that I suggest people do, it's not absolutely necessary, but if you have the time, you might as well try it. You're going to want to try to do what you can on your own to speed up the decision-making process for the government before filing. So that could include things like filing expedite requests, getting in touch with the Ombudsman for USCIS cases. That could involve writing letters to your local congresspeople, your local senators. Sometimes these things work. Most of the time they don't, but they're good to do anyway, because if you're going to file a mandamus lawsuit, it's good facts to have for your attorney to add into a complaint to show that you've done everything you can to resolve this on your own before going to the courts. Again, it's not necessary, but it's nice to have. Next thing you want to do is you want to get organized with the paperwork around your immigration case. So some of the documents that your attorneys are going to need to put together a complaint and get a case on file for you include the filing receipts that you have. So when you file an immigration petition, eventually you're going to get something with a filing receipt showing that you filed on a particular day. So you're going to need those. Those are critical. You're going to want any correspondence that you had with the government on your case since you filed. If there's been intervening kind of steps in a case, let's say that you got an interview, but you haven't gotten a final decision, just getting together the interview dates, all the documentation around just putting together the chronology of the case. The next thing you're going to want to do is, for a lot of people that are facing immigration delays, unfortunately, these delays are causing major hardships in their life. If that's the case, if the delay is causing a major hardship for you or your family, you're going to want to start to kind of piece together that story. How is it causing you hardships? Just have that ready to explain clearly and simply how the delays are hurting you and your family. If there's any documents or evidence that show that, if it's helpful, it's also good to have that available when you're ready to file. Another issue or thing you will want to do is, if you had a law firm that helped you prepare the petition that's delayed, you're going to want to get in touch with them. And there's a couple of questions that I think are worth going over with them. So number one, you're going to want to get a realistic idea from them as to what they think the odds are that you're going to get approved or denied with your petition. If there's any major complications with your case, you're going to want to know that so there's no surprises, or you can never guarantee these things, but you want to minimize the risk of surprises down the line. So just know what your odds are of approval or denial. And along the same lines, you're going to want to figure out if the delay is actually helping you. So there are some situations where a delay in getting a decision actually helps you, and you're going to want that delay to last as long as possible. So filing a mandamus lawsuit in that situation wouldn't be helpful. So that's not common, but if you do happen to fall into that category, you want to be aware of that. Next, you're going to want to do research on what law firm to help you with filing the mandamus lawsuit. So it may not be the same law firm that helped you with your petition. It's rarely a good idea to do it with the same law firm that helped you file the petition. And the reason for that is because ideally you're going to want to have a law firm to represent you in the mandamus case that has a deep level of experience with federal litigation. not necessarily generalized immigration experience, because federal court is just a different thing. There are some law firms that I would say primarily work in petitions, but then dabble or file some lawsuits in federal court. Sometimes they're successful with what they're doing. Where I find that a firm like that runs into a problem is not necessarily filing a complaint, but what happens if there's pushback from the government? Are they experienced enough with federal litigation and federal procedure to give you the best odds of success if there's pushback? A lot of times the answer to that is no. So I would recommend that you go with a law firm that has as much federal litigation experience as possible. The other thing to consider is, can you afford to hire an attorney to help you? So, that's really a judgment call that the individual has to make. If you could easily afford it, then usually it makes sense to go forward, right? Because most of the time, the worst case scenario with the Mandamus lawsuit is you just go back to waiting, just as you kind of were before. So it's not going to negatively impact your immigration petition, the merits of it. So if you could afford the fee and that's the worst outcome and it doesn't work out, then usually it's worth it to go forward. However, if the attorney's fee is a big chunk of your savings, or you're going to have to sacrifice other things in your life in order to pay the attorney, you're going to want to give it some real thought as to whether it's worth it for you or not. Really, nobody can answer that except for you. For some people it will be, for some people it won't. If you're kind of on the border with that, if it's a stretch to pay for an attorney, but you do decide you want to go forward with it, if you know that you're a couple of months off from that, you probably want to start saving money or figuring out some way to get the money before you're ready to file. This way it's just financially less of a stress for you when the time comes. So those are the main pointers I have to help you prepare. I'm going to make another video, haven't made it yet, about the steps that the attorney or the law firm should be doing to evaluate your case and getting it ready to file. So this video is about what the client should be doing before they contact the attorney, or even if it's not before they contact the attorney, before they're ready to file, and then what the attorney should be doing once the client is ready. So if you have any questions, as always, please feel free to reach out, and I hope this video was helpful. Thanks.